Good morning. So, how you like my mask? You know, I was at the Dollar Tree the other day, and for $1, they had these Halloween spiders and whatever, different colors. So I stapled one on my mask, and it's really surprising how many people laugh and get a little chuckle out of that. And you know, this time of the year and the season of COVID, we all need a little laugh. So I thought I would give you a little smile there this morning. I want to talk to you a little bit about debt. I don't like debt. Never did as a kid or as an adult. Always saved money until I could buy something. Didn't really have a credit card till I was middle-aged adult. And I learned a few things. You know, I'm 71 years old, and so I've learned a few things through observation about debt and how it affects our economy and what happens. And there's a few things that are laws. You know, if you print a whole bunch of money, you know, like Nazi Germany and whatever at the end of the war, then the value of your money is going to plummet. And if you oversell your stock market, you know, and you get up there into to large oversold areas, you know, sooner or later that thing's going to come crashing down. What I have found out here recently is that those rules don't seem to work anymore. They don't seem to be the laws that we can predict debt and the response of our economy to it. And something that I don't quite understand it, but I have a few little ideas about it. And I'll just tell you, you know, a lot of times I write on Quora and you get some Asian commenters on there about, oh, the U.S. has $30 trillion in debt, in T-bills that have been issued, and how that is going to implode. And you just can't keep printing that money like that before it does implode. And I agree with that in concept, but the reality of it is that isn't the case. When you look at that $30 trillion in debt, the world has given the United States $30 trillion over a period of time. And with that $30 trillion, we have purchased aircraft carriers and spaceships to the moon, you know, and various things that $30 trillion will die. I'm sure there's a bunch of politicians got quite wealthy, siphoning some of that money off, and the bankers, of course. But we have received those benefits. On the flip side, the world, in receipt of that $30 trillion, they have a piece of paper and a promise. They have a piece of paper that is a T-bill, and the promise that the United States will pay that back. And the world really believes that, and well, that they should. We just printed out 33 trillion in T-bills here for this economic stimulus packet, and they were bought up faster than they could come off the print by the world. So all of us Americans get $1,200 each, and businesses get some money and whatever, and the world gets another piece of paper and a promise from us. So there's a lot of call that, you know, the dollar's done, everything's going to implode, and things are going to get really bad, you know, based upon these old rules. But what I look at is those rules don't really pertain anymore. If they did, it would be a different story. But there's an old saying that if you owe the bank $60,000, you have a problem. But if you owe the bank $3 million, the bank has a problem. We owe the world $30 trillion, and the world has a problem. If the dollar were to collapse, that 30 trillion would become worthless. Now, to the United States, we've already spent that. But to the rest of the world, that $30 trillion is sitting out there as T-bills on ledger sheets that are treated as assets. They balance those books in the economies. And if that were to evaporate or implode, all of those economies that have all those assets on their books, they would also implode. Now, we don't normally think about that, but I am sure the bankers think about that all the time. So I think with the new rules that there's kind of one rule, and that is that the dollar cannot be allowed to fail. Because if it does, you know, that great imploding occurs and that great crash of the economies occur. The United States probably wouldn't come out too badly on that. They could either not have to pay that debt, or they just print out a $30 trillion bill and hand it over and say, debt paid. But the U.S. is big enough, has enough resources that, you know, we could contract and withdraw into our own borders, probably develop our own infrastructure again, have our own oil and our own food production, and we could probably weather something quite nicely. Whereas a country like China, who cannot produce enough food for their own food, you know, domestically, they have to import food, and they have to pay for that in some manner. And if that economy goes down the tubes, so is that ability for the world to do that. So it seems to me that there is, you know, definitely not a level playing field. The U.S. has this huge debt, but it does not follow the rules of the debt that we are normally used to. And for all the people who think about the U.S. dollar going down the tubes and that, I honestly believe that that is a pipe dream. The world will not allow that to happen because the consequences to the world and every economy would be huge. So it's a little different. And the stock market is tied to that. That stock market should crash a long time ago. I've seen the stock market drop, you know, Black Thursday, Black Monday in past years, you know, and go down a huge amount of money. And this market should have been crashed a long time ago, but it isn't. And this money that gets printed, you know, and infused back into the stock market, I think the stock market is artificially supported, as the U.S. dollar is. Now, I don't know where all this is going to end. I don't know what the final deal is going to be, and I don't know if it's going to be apocalyptic. But I really don't anticipate, you know, those greedy bankers out there worldwide who realize all of this. I don't anticipate that they are going to let that fall. They might make some little minor steps, you know, a basket of currencies to do this or that, or the Chinese yuan is coming on strong. Well, who's going to buy a T-bill from a totalitarian government that suppresses its people and has lied and reneged on every promise it's ever made? You know, because the faith of that, you know, trust is a big part of those T-bills. You know, we have the best economy. We've never reneged on those. We have a stable government. We're accepted in the world. So there is a lot other than just, you know, a dollar's worth 100 pennies that goes into making the dollar what it is. But I don't know if there's any conclusion to what I have to say, but I've seen that argument brought up, and I've seen the reality of it from a perspective of someone who has seen a lot of financial ups and downs over the years. So I thought I'd just lay that out there for you to think about a little bit. So I think the United States is going to do just fine, and I think the dollar is going to do just fine. Not because it should, but because it won't be allowed to do anything different. So have yourself a good day. Think about the great cosmic all, but go out and buy a spider, put it on your mask, make some people laugh.